What is going on, guys? Mr. Basie here, and today we're going to be doing some Seduce Me 2, The Demon War. I've been waiting for this game to come out. I mean, it is such a pleasure to be able to play this game. The demo was insane. If you guys saw the demo, you'll know what I'm talking about. But looks like they also changed the music. Wow. It's getting crazy up in here. But anyway, we're going to be playing this, and I'm really excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. I know some of you have been specifically asking for this. That's pretty exciting. We're going to be starting off first and foremost with James. I'm pretty sure James is the yellow one here, if I'm not mistaken. I made that mistake in the demo too, but James is going to be my first Incubus playthrough, simply because that's who I ended with on Seduce Me 1. So we're going to be doing that, and of course we'll be doing all of them. Looks like we have a sixth one here, which I'm assuming is Diana, since that was a little secret intro for the demo. Now, really quick before we get started, I know I'm kind of drawing this out, but we will be doing a giveaway of each male Incubus ending here for the actual game on Steam. So you're going to get a Steam key. All you got to do is comment down below that you want to enter the giveaway. Each video, go ahead and do that. Just keep putting in, I want to enter the giveaway in the latest video possible so that I can see it easier, and you guys are going to get some Steam keys when I do the giveaway. I'll be doing the giveaway at some point during the playthrough of each Incubus, whether it's in the towards the beginning, towards the end, or whatever. You're just going to have to watch and see, but you're going to get a free game out of it. It's pretty awesome. So whoever wins the giveaway will get a actual copy of the game, which you could either use on yourself, or you could just, you know, use it for a friend if you've already bought in the game and you want them to try it out. So with that being said, let's jump right into it, and I'm super pumped about this. Big shout out to MacLeod, the developer of this game, for hooking you guys up with those beta keys. So here, or not the beta keys, the game keys. So here we go. All right.
Hold on there.
Who are you now?
Before you start the game, I need to ask you a few things. Don't want you getting lost now.
I think I can handle myself, thanks. But I'll let you proceed.
First of all, have you read the first story, Seduce Me the Otome? Like,
oh, that's how you pronounce it?
Seriously read it. Do know this is James's route.
Yes,
right?
thank you.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, awesome. All right then. James is pretty cool, huh? It's the glasses, isn't it? You can tell me.
Yep.
Well, this game is recommended for players ages 18 and up. Trigger warnings include suicide, war, torture, mentions of rape, and a large amount of violence and sexual content.
Fantastic. That's exactly what I was in for.
Don't worry though, any sex scene choice you encounter is completely up to you. You can play this game without needing to go through the sex scenes and still get the good endings. Consent is important.
I'd say so, yeah, definitely. But we'll probably be partaking in a good amount of those if I choose the right things.
I think that should be everything. I wish to set a stone destiny.
Alrighty. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that weird-ass voice.
The fate of the abyssal plains is in the hands of the wrong man. I must set things right.
And then he's gonna be like, delicious.
I come bearing my life force as the price. Take as much as you desire, as long as my request is fulfilled.
He's like, you sure, lady? Like,
Then, that is the price, as long as you set the stone destiny.
wow. Oh, it said something about my mom. My name is Poopy Pants. Alright, we're gonna go with Lisa. That was the Colisa? We're gonna go with Lisa because that was my name in the original Seduce Me. I know it kind of varied. I went from Lisa, and then sometimes I just didn't care and I went with Mika, but Lisa was the first person I chose, so here we go. I'd almost forgotten it. My name, I've almost forgotten my name. I clung to it by a single thread, knowing that if I let it go, I'd be lost in a dark void never to return. Why? Why was I so worried about my name? Well, it was the only claim I had to reality, especially when I was behind bars. Oh shit. For some reason, I was in a cell. I didn't know why, I didn't know how I got here. All I knew was that I was in it and that I was chained to a wall by shackles on my ankles. Delicious. I didn't want to accept the bars as real. What do you think, they're fake? I didn't want to be in a cell. Most people don't. I didn't want to smell the dank stench of blood and sweat emanating from all around me. I would assume you're among the majority there, but I had no choice in the matter. No matter how many times I examined my surroundings, they remained the same. I was in a cell in a dimly lit dungeon. The walls were unfriendly, and apparently walls also have personalities, and the shackles around my ankles provided no comfort. The rags I was forced to wear barely fit, and I felt filthy. Why was I here? I didn't have the answer. All I knew was that I was trapped. I could hear quiet sobbing and muffled screaming from further down the passageway I was in. They reverberated from down the hall, and I knew that they must have come from fellow prisoners or the condemned. I, however, only had one neighbor, the pro player from Halo. In the cell beside me sat a figure wrapped in a dark purple cloak. The top of the figure's head was shrouded by both the shadows in their cell and the hood that covered their face. They never spoke, they never moved. Were they dead? I watched them closely for some time, but I never saw their body inhale, exhale, or show any other sign of life. I didn't wish to think on it further, so I turned my head away. What was happening? I opened my mouth to shout, hoping that maybe someone would hear me and give me some sort of clue as to what was going on. As I tried to command my voice to speak, however, the sound of a large door opening echoed through the dungeon. I turned my head towards the direction of the sound and watched as the hall slowly began to brighten, like there was a torch moving towards my cell. I stared wide-eyed at what was approaching. Moving toward my cell was a man I recognized, one that had been close to my heart and now had a look of cold disdain in his eyes. My chest pounded as his name reverberated in my head. James. Oh, there's the... It's the same little slide. I love it. He was still in his human form, but his voice vibrated with demonic echoes and waves sending shivers down my spine. His tone was cold and unfeeling, as if I was not someone he loved, but someone he despised with every ounce of his being. Oh my god.
You still live. I'm surprised.
I'm resilient, thanks. Whoa. Suddenly, from the cell beside me, the cowled figure jumped up and slammed into the bars, gripping them as they snarled at James. I stared, now able to see who had been hidden by the cloak.
You piece of filth! How can you dare show your face again?
Jeez, I don't know. Diana? This guy's a pro at just sliding around. James seemed unfazed as he stepped towards Diana's cage and leaned in, almost nose to nose with her.
And you live too. How
Told you.
Resilient you both are.
Psst, man, we're bosses. We're bossing it out up in this piece.
We're not so weak as to break under your chains, traitor. After all, unlike you, I carry pure Lilith blood in my veins. In that human, the one you love, is more powerful than your pathetic mind can fathom.
Damn, get shredded. What was Diana talking about? Why was James acting like this? I opened my mouth to speak, but felt something hold back my voice. It was as if a vice had been tightened over my vocal cords and denied them any chance to create sound in my throat. James smirked and gripped Diana's chin, making her snarl louder.
Anyone can be broken. It just takes time and patience, both of which I have in abundance.
Delicious.
Fucking monk.
James tightened his grip on her chin, digging his fingers into her jaw. Diana could only wince and glare at the one holding her. I felt fear run through my body as his lips curved even more into a I was like, wait, what's going? He's morphing? He's like a freaking Mr. Potato Head into a devilish smirk. How could he look so evil?
Be patient, woman. You'll have your turn soon.
As James turned his gaze to me, I felt my body suddenly heat up. His eyes were glowing an almost sickly golden yellow as he stared into my soul and ignited my core with heat and desire. Oh, fabulous. I felt dizzy and weak, my mouth falling open to allow a silent sigh escape from my lips. What was happening? James released Diana and walked to the door of my cell, quickly manipulating the lock to open it. He's ready. As the door opened, I could just imagine him like messing around with the lock mad quick. I felt myself crawl backwards towards the back of the cell, suddenly afraid of the demon who was approaching. At the same time, I felt uncanny and unnatural elation for the man approaching me, with a smirk that tore at my heart.
Well, time to dine.
Oh my.
Don't you fucking touch her!
Oh jeez. Before I knew it, Diana pressed her body against the bars that divided ourselves and grabbed James's shoulder, digging her nails into it.
You little...
Damn, he's... Okay, you made a bad move, friend. That's something I did not remember. I didn't remember she just got crossed off like that. James swung his arm towards Diana and formed a familiar pistol in his hand. Within moments, he aimed and fired. Oh, geez. I can only watch as Diana jumped back and held her chest, blood oozing from between her fingers onto the ground. She stared at James in both pain and surprise before crumpling to the floor and exhaling the last breath she would ever take. Damn, see ya, have fun with it. My mind was caught in a frenzy of emotions while I felt shocked, terrified, and mortified at what had happened. My mind continued to dance in the desirable waves that ran through my body. Why couldn't I control myself? The pistol in James's hand disappeared as he let out a sneer of irritation.
Damn it.
Dude, they're just nails. I mean, I know it probably hurt, but what kind of baby are you, dude? James then looked at me, towering over me as I both cowered in fear and melted against the back of my cell.
Looks like you'll have to give me twice the amount of energy from now on.
Well, that was why he said, damn it. Well, that's not good. As James began to step towards me, I felt hot tears run down my cheeks while I panted like a dog in heat. Okay, then. Well then, geez. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him not to hurt me. My voice began to press against the vise, holding it, wanting to explode out. James's shadow consumed me and I let out a scream. Then, I woke up. I shot up in my bed, panting wildly as my heart pounded hard against my ribcage. I gripped my hand over my chest, feeling my pulse beating underneath the skin in a frantic rhythm in time with my hastened breath. I heard the faint echo of my scream bounce through the room as I let reality sink in. It was a dream and I was awake now. Everything was okay. Everything was...
What?
Oh, it's just... James. Sorry, bro. I know you have work. My heart froze and I felt my body tense up at the sound of James's voice beside me. My heated cheeks reminded me of the tears I had shed in the dream and who had caused them. I shot my head to the side to see James, the man who I loved, but also the man who terrified me, looking at me with a face painted with concern and worry.
Love, are you okay?
Get away from me! I couldn't control myself as I quickly rolled out of bed and pressed myself back against the far wall, staring at him in absolute terror. James only stared back at me, still shocked and now troubled. He didn't move, most likely not wanting to frighten me further. Images of the dream I had began to replay in my head, replacing the James in bed with the James that towered over me in that dark jail cell. My body shook violently from the memory, but soon my logic began to break the images apart, leaving me with the sight of James still in bed, staring at me. My thoughts slowly melted and I felt myself start to cry once again. This time my heart began to ache as I realized whom I had yelled at. I lurched forward and practically jumped at James, who opened his arms wide and wrapped me in them as I landed against his chest. I'm sorry, bro. I'm so sorry, dude.
There's nothing to be sorry about. It was only a nightmare. I'm right here.
Fantastic. James held me close to him as I began to cry into his shoulder. I continued to apologize to him, whimpering and sobbing like a child as the fear from the nightmare slowly began to fade away. James's hand simply ran over my head and hair, trying to calm me down. It had felt so real, and yet I knew that that it couldn't have been. James was right here, protecting me and comforting me, proving the love he had for me. He would never hurt me. Ever. As I itched my eye. Eventually, I was able to calm down, and I looked up at the man holding me as he gently smiled down at me.
Are you alright?
Sure. I nodded, earning a small squeeze of his arms around me. I naturally cuddled closer to his body, desiring more of his warmth. Fantastic. What time is it? James gently hugged me tighter to his body as he looked over to his nightstand at his phone, which was docked in a fancy speaker charger.
It's 3:40 a.m.
Oh my. We still had a few hours before our alarms were set to wake us up. Crap, why did I have to have a nightmare and wake both of us up? Well, it's not your fault, girl. I mean, if you have a bad dream, you have a bad dream. It's not your, you could have held in the scream, but I guess, it was whatever. I gripped James's shoulders and looked up at him apologetically. I'm sorry, I know you need your sleep.
Please don't worry about it. My beautiful fiancée is much more important to me than sleep.
That's the right attitude, man. There you go. As he said fiancé, I couldn't help but feel my face heat up, letting a blush run along my cheeks. It was true. I was his fiancé. He had asked me to marry him a couple of months ago, and I had accepted his proposal, wanting to be his wife. Just thinking about the idea of being with him forever made the imaginary butterflies in my stomach dance around happily and flutter their wings against my heart. It was a dream come true. His love and warmth assured me that my nightmare was just that. He was my wonderful husband-to-be, and I was going to be his wife. My body couldn't help but shiver in happiness. Oh my! James caught the shiver and gently ran his hands up and down my arms.
Are you feeling cold?
You know that's not what it is. No, you just make me happy, that's all. As I leaned up and kissed James's cheek, he smiled and kissed mine in return. His warm lips sent another euphoric shiver down my spine, and I felt joy run through my veins. Doesn't sound healthy. I truly loved James. It wasn't long, however, before I felt something gently brush up against my hip. Scandalous! I looked down as James cleared his throat in embarrassment. I got a little ween piece action there, bro. My raised an eyebrow as well as growing a blush on my face. Raising an eyebrow as well as growing a blush on my face. I looked up at my fiancé as he looked away from me, his face almost red as a tomato.
I'm sorry, I can't exactly control my excitement when you say things like that.
Yeah. We all know how the ween piece works, friend. Jeez. Look, we gotta do it. Okay, I'm gonna vow right now that if I know the option to go towards the goo-goo scenes, we'll go into those. So, we're gonna go and kiss him passionately. James didn't have to use his powers to light a fire in me. My goodness. I gently tilted my head and kissed. Now here's the music change. This is cues the dastardliness, capturing his lips with mine lovingly. I felt my body slowly heat up, slowly and tenderly, to make sure not to scare me. His enthrallment over me became a natural part of our lovemaking. It not only helped him gain energy, but it made the pleasure of our sex practically 10 times more powerful. Well then! As I moaned against his lips, James gently ran his hands down my back and over my rear, making me slightly jump in surprise at the... What, your man doesn't touch your booty every now and then? Jeez. As he gripped it, I let out another hot moan. Oh. James smiled and chuckled quietly against my lips. I stared at the ceiling, lusting for James, as he pulled away from the kiss and began to kiss over my neck. I absolutely needed this man, and I needed him now. Well, then, damn. Okay, the thirst is real. My body pressed against his and forced him back onto the bed, allowing me to be on top and be in control. James stared up at me, still gripping onto my ass. Fantastic. And gently massaged each cheek with his fingers. Wait, what? Okay. I get it now. He was using his palms, but I'm imagining him just doing this. Like, I'm like, what's going on? You should know better than this, my dude. We both knew that he was always in control whenever we made love. However, my rebellious attempts at being top, often spurred him on to be that much rougher in our play. It was like a game. Don't make him too rough. You don't want him. I mean, he's a demon with powers. You don't want him to like thrust you through the wall or something. That's not good. He's gonna like Hulk smash you through the wall. Still, I like to think that I tried valiantly and not in vain. Sure, you made it fun. It's okay. I moved my hands back and took his off of me, lacing our fingers together and pinning them to the bed beside his head. They didn't fight back against my hold, but James's face continued to intimidate me with a playful smirk and a dominant gaze. Damn. I gently leaned down and captured his lips again, grinding my hips against him and showing him the heat and desire I was feeling for him. Jeez! His hands tightened around mine, and I felt him gently grind back up into me and letting his own desire rub against mine. Fabulous! This is just wonderful. My body forced me to pull my lips away, making me bite my lower lip in pleasure at the grind. Before suddenly feeling myself being flipped over on the bed with James smirking over me. Jeez, were you wearing any panties? I mean, my goodness. I didn't care. I wanted him to take me in whatever position we ended up in. Wrapping my legs around his waist, that's the sign. I pulled James close and leaned my head up, brushing my lips against his. What are you waiting for? Take me. Oh my God. I remember, as you wish, that's a weird response, but whatever, it's appropriate. But even though I've played all this before, and I'm not just going to jump to what happens each time, just so for those of you that haven't seen the demo, but even though I've played this before, it still is like, I don't know, I must have forgotten it or something, because it still kind of surprises me. Within mere moments, we went from grinding each other to moaning each other's names as we made passionate love. Fantastic. Our clothes were thrown about the room, but we didn't give a damn. We were busy. We were freaking doing our business. We didn't care. Every moment pushed moans and gasps from my lips, building towards a beautiful high as I moved against him and made him feel the same. I'm assuming this is over the course of a while, because this has been like 30 seconds. Our sex wasn't just to feel pleasure, it was our bodies melding and moving together in perfect harmony, with each moan professing our love for each other. There wasn't a single moment of silence between us, letting our love echo through the room. I hope nobody's home. As we were finally eclipsed in ecstasy for each other, we held each other tightly, not wanting to let go of one another. James had pulled up our covers over our bodies, and I had made his chest my pillow. See, there was only, and from what I remember, there was only one definite, like, okay, that was a climax moment, because it just, like, skipped, you know what I mean? It was like, the ecstasy, and then, his chest is my pillow. I was like, damn, that was quick. James ran his hands through my hair, his heated and worn-out breath matching mine, as we both fell back into the darkness of sleep. I suppose, I mean, he's kind of like the gentleman guy, so it would be like that. The nightmare didn't return. I slept peacefully within James's arms as if nothing else mattered in the world, except for me and him. The morning was kind. James and I sweetly awakened before our alarms.
Good morning. Did you sleep better?
After that, I'm sure we did. Do we have to set up?
Unfortunately, we do.
Oh, get up.
You have to organize more wedding arrangements, and I have to go to work.
Jeez, put me to work. Do you have to?
Yes, I do. Now come on, let's go.
All right. I couldn't help but whine. I wanted to stay with James in bed just a bit longer. However, since he was the CEO of the Anderson Toys Company, he had many obligations to attend to. Not even his future wife could pull him away from those duties. Damn, that must... Could you imagine how balls to the wall dookie that must be? Like, that like, thought must be. That must suck. We went downstairs and had breakfast together before James went to work. It was always depressing whenever he left me alone in the house. However, he was a CEO, and I was currently still in school getting a degree. Luckily for me, all of my courses were online, so I didn't have to leave the house to get the degree I wanted. Attending classes in pajamas was always better than having to put on regular clothes. That is definitely true. I stretched and yawned, still slightly tired from waking up in the middle of the night. As I thought about that moment, I couldn't stop images of my nightmare flashing through my mind. Quickly, I shook my head. Nope, it was just a dream, no. I wrapped my arms around myself, feeling a cold wave of nerves rush against my skin. My first instinct was to call Naomi or Suzu just to vent about it and get it out of my system, but if there was something supernatural at work, they wouldn't understand. What do you mean? Don't they? Oh, do they not know that you're dating a demon yet? Or you're engaged to a demon? Closing my eyes, I made a decision. I took my phone out of my pocket and dialed a number onto my phone without looking at it before bringing it up to my ear. You dialed a number onto your phone, a random number. Now, I know who she's going to call, but it sounds like she just called some random person to vent about stuff. some random old dude. The other line rang a couple of times before I heard a voice answer at last.
Hello?
Frickin' Sam, what's up, man? Crap, I didn't know Sam was still sleeping. Sam, is Carrie awake?
Dude, why are you calling?
Dude, just give me the phone. Just give the phone to Carrie.
Sam, you dork. Give me the phone. I know it's her.
She must not get many calls if she knows who it is.
Calm down.
Haha. Hello?
I smiled. Carrie was Sam's wife. Yep, I said it. Wife. Damn. She seems pretty perky. They had been married for almost a year, and despite sounding like they were always bickering half the time, they truly loved each other. Sam had met her while investigating a haunted house. She had been there as an architectural consultant, and they clicked as soon as they both left. What was even more surprising about their relationship, however, was that Carrie knew what he was before he even confessed it to her. Apparently, she was a witch. A person who had been granted permission to know about magic and otherworldly creatures by the angels and was gifted with both demon and holy magic. Hey Carrie, are you free right now?
Huh? Well, I kinda just got out of bed, but let me check my schedule, okay? Give me a sec.
Don't act like you're that busy. You know you're free. I heard Carrie climb over Sam at one point, making him swear at her before he groaned in defeat at the situation. After a couple of book flips from the other line, Carrie finally cheered, like she's flipping through the books, just empty pages, like, I think I'm free, I'm good.
I don't have anything scheduled for work today.
Oh, man.
I'm all free. What do you need? Wedding advice?
Sure thing. No. Not that. Mind coming over? I kind of want to ask you something.
Sure thing. Sam's got work today. It'll just be me. I'll even bring some pizza and stuff so we can have a fun girls' lunch. What do you say?
Sounds delicious. Sounds great. See you soon. Soon enough, however, Carrie came by with 2 pizza boxes in one hand and a large bottle of pop in the other. I couldn't help but feel my stomach gurgle at the delicious smell. She brought deep dish pizza. Yum. We settled into my room and made my bed into our picnic. Oh, I remember this. Freaking put some plastic stuff over it. Jeez, man, you're gonna make the bed all dirty. We already did stuff in this morning. Did we clean that? Because we're eating on it now, lady. Do you know these facts? We laid out a blanket so we didn't get crumbs on the bed itself. Like, that's the biggest problem. But we liked our makeshift eating spot.
So, what's going on? Are you having premarital trouble?
No, well, Dreams. Eventually, I finally spoke up. Why did we call her here? I mean, did we just we used her for the pizza otherwise, right? If we don't tell her, we're using her for the pizza and soda. What's it called? I had a nightmare last night.
A nightmare? Was it really bad?
Yeah. I nodded, remembering how horrified I was in the nightmare, and visibly shivering at the memory. Carrie frowned and poured me a glass of pop. We should have wine for this.
Maybe I should have brought alcohol.
Thank you. Oh, no. It wasn't that terrible, I swear. It was about James. No, he didn't do that. Stop lying. Was holding me in a jail cell. Carrie stared wide-eyed at me, unsure of what to say. I continued. He looked cold and evil. Diana was there too.
Diana? The succubus that tried to take the boys away?
Yeah, you almost lost out too, lady. You should be more upset. Yeah, she was in the cell next to me. For some reason, it seemed like she was trying to protect me.
Protect you? How?
She didn't do a very good job, but she tried her best. My mind instantly replayed the nightmare, flashing to when Diana gripped James's shoulder and tried to pull him away from me. I couldn't help my body from wincing at the memory of her being shot by his gun. Oh yeah, she's getting crossed off. He came into my cell. He enthralled me and Diana shouted at him to leave me alone. Then he popped her. Carrie reached over and placed her hand on my shoulder, making me lower my head. It was strange to think about, Diana protecting me. Yet I could feel the anger in her voice when James tried to approach me. She truly sounded like she had wanted to protect me. He shot her with his demon gun, and then she died. He came after me.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry.
Why does it tell you a question? It's like, oh, I'm so sorry? Like, it may have not been real, but my body couldn't help but quake in fear when recalling the nightmare. I shook my head and looked at Carrie, needing to know what was going on. Do you think this is an omen? This nightmare can't just be a dream.
You said a jail cell?
Yeah, it was a stone dungeon.
Like in a medieval castle?
A stone dungeon, lady, yes. Carrie shook her head again and ran her hands through her hair once more before looking up at me.
I don't know if this is connected with that dream, but I've heard rumors about the abyssal plains being in utter chaos.
Jeez.
The only place I could imagine jail cells like that being used for prisoners is in the abyssal plains. But you and James are here in the human world, so it makes no sense.
Carrie abruptly moved from the bed and reached for her purse, digging through it and practically sticking her entire arm into it. What the? I swore she was Mary Poppins the day I saw her do that the first time. Apparently, it was a demon-branded bag. Oh, and you're reaching your arm in there? Not a good idea. Called the Endless Satchel. Only found in the demon black market of the human world. Wait. You just said... She just literally just said, she's like, how could they even possibly get to you? You're in the human world. But then at the same time, there's a demon black market in the human world. Like, it wasn't just a bag on the inside. It was a void. It was Kirby's stomach. You could stuff anything in there and be able to pull it back out without ease as long as you pictured it in your mind. But you better not be picturing anything dirty. Jeez. Carrie pulled out something wrapped in a dark green silk. As she unfolded the cloth, she revealed a deck of cards. On the back of each card was a black pentagram with small, almost unreadable markings around it. On the faces, however, were different hand-painted images that helped me recognize it as a tarot deck. They were worn, but they still emitted a power that made me shiver, or made a shiver run down my spine. She gently drew three cards from She gently drew three cards from the top of the deck, sitting them face down in front of her, and placed the remainder of the deck on the nightstand. She flipped one over, revealing a wheel with multiple symbols on it.
The Wheel of Fortune. Could this be about the demon world changing? No, it can't just be that. Someone changed something in the past and disturbed the fate of the abyssal plains.
I looked to the card, taking note of what Carrie said aloud. There were many things that I knew that I had personally changed. Carrie moved her hand and flipped over another card, revealing a figure with a sword in one hand and a scale on the other. Staring at the card, I swore I heard angry whispers in the air around me. Oh, jeez.
Justice? What could this be about?
What?
Could a change in the past be something so big that it demands justice's attention?
Oh, damn, like the justice? I thought you were talking about the principle, but the justice? You're screwed. I didn't get to think on it long as Carrie flipped over the third card as it was revealed. Both Carrie and I gasped.
The King of Swords? But that card is not supposed to look like that.
Oh, what? Oh! A king figure sat on a throne with a large sword in his hand, looking absolutely ridiculous, as if he was ready to attack the viewer. However, the card looked like a black and gold demon I recognized. Freaking James up in this piece. James? No. The picture, despite being simple, was powerful enough to make a shudder run through my body at the sight. As we stared, however, the nightstand that held the remaining cards began to quake, forcing me and Carrie to look over in surprise. What the? The tarot cards on their own burst upwards and began to fly through the air frantically. The sounds of battle and war emanated from them and raging through the room, and Carrie quickly moved and shielded my body with hers as she covered her ears. Man, my cheeks would be flapping in the wind as I left that room. You would have, man, you would see the tail end of my ass leaving the room before that was over. I covered mine as well, but that didn't stop the sounds of blood and clashing swords. Why are you not running? From digging into my senses, I could almost feel the heat and danger of the image of war that the sounds were painting against my skin. As the sound stopped, I looked up to see the cards floating down onto us, now lifeless and all of them torn in half right down the middle. What? As they landed, however, I stared in shock at what I saw on each half card's face. Carrie looked up and gasped as well.
Impossible.
What does that say? The lovers? Why does it look like there's more words? The lovers. On half the cards, I saw a girl that had my hairstyle with a stream of tears running down her face, reaching out towards the torn edge. On the other, I saw a weeping boy with James's demon horns and a crown on his head. He was reaching back toward the tear that divided him from the other half of the card where the girl was. My nightmare began to flash before my eyes, causing me to grip onto myself and shiver violently from the fear bubbling in my core. Carrie quickly grabbed hold of me and hugged me to her.
Hey, shh. It's okay.
How is this okay?
Sometimes the cards are wrong. This can't be right.
You're not doing a very good job convincing me. How could I believe her? I was standing. I gripped to Carrie, feeling extreme fear and sadness run through my body.
Hey, look at me.
I looked up at Carrie. She gave a small smile as she squeezed me gently in her hug.
Magic is fickle, okay? The cards aren't always correct. Fate can always be changed. Remember that.
I knew she was trying to make me feel better. I knew that there was something going on. However, as the thought of my marriage came up, I knew that I'd have to calm down eventually. There were cards and my marriage was still happening, regardless of what they said. Carrie muttered an incantation under her breath, and when I opened my eyes, the cards had all disappeared. I hugged Carrie tighter, silently thanking her for removing them. I had to be stronger. I had to. Jeez. As the day went on, I enlisted Carrie to help with the wedding arrangements. So she just got pulled right into that, didn't she? Surprisingly, we got a majority of the work needed done, so that gave us time to relax and watch a movie together before James returned from work. Wanting to leave us alone, Carrie left as soon as he came.
Hey, did everything go all right? I'm assuming Carrie helped.
Yeah. Wait, how'd you know? Yeah, she did. For some reason, I felt the need to hug him. I just needed to. Without warning, I walked over and wrapped my arms around James, laying my head against his chest.
Huh? Love?
Don't worry, bro. Just accept it. Ew, what the fuck? As James wrapped his arms around me and kissed the top of my head, I smiled. He would be with me and I would be okay.
I love you.
Oh, so sweet. I love you too. My heart felt at ease. Everything would be fine. Everything would be okay.
So, what would you like for dinner? We can go out to eat, or we can stay at home and I can make something.
Nah, let's get something out. I think I made the same decision. You were at work all day. You don't need to come home and make anything. If anyone should be making anything, it should be me. Like, it should be the person that was at home all day. Now, it's not a sexist thing. It's just because he was working all day and we were at home eating pizza. So, naturally, it's only fair. Marriage works both ways. It works two ways. Whoever is doing the least should help out a bit more. At least that's what I think. I held James' it was sweet of him to offer, though. I held James' hand in mine, knowing that I wanted to just stay home with him. We had more than enough for the wedding, yes, but our time together was better spent alone together rather than at a restaurant. You should just order out. Like, what the heck? How about thank you. You just came back from work. Might as well relax. All right. We ordered a takeout and sat together in our room, once again making the bed. This bed must be filthy. I mean, we eat on it. We bone on it. I mean, geez. We played a movie in the background, but our focus was on each other. I gently moved my food to the nightstand and placed a hand under James's plate, making him stop to look at me. It's fucking straight interrupting him. I softly pulled it away from him, placing his food next to mine. The man is eating! You don't just do that! Before crawling over James and sitting over his lap. I mean, she's kind of making up for it. Promise me something?
Huh? Anything.
Fabulous. Promise to stay with me forever? Aw. It seemed like a simple and obvious promise, but I wanted to hear him profess it. James continued to look up at me, silently understanding my need to hear it, and wrapped his arms around my body.
I promise to stay with you forever.
So sweet. Until the end of time?
Until the end of time.
Jeez. You can't break your promise to me, ever. Damn.
I would never dream of it.
Attaboy, there you go. James moved a hand up and tenderly caressed my cheek, making me nuzzle into his hand and close my eyes.
You are the one I want to spend my entire life with. I will give everything and more to you for as long as I possibly can as your husband.
You're damn straight. I felt tears slowly run down my cheeks, which were soon brushed away by James's thumb. I nuzzled further into James's hand and held his wrist, almost hugging his arm to my chest.
Is the nightmare you had last night bothering you?
Anymore? Well, I mean, I don't know. I couldn't help but nod in reply, frowning and biting my lower lip. I didn't want it to bother me. It wasn't worth it. I knew that James would stay with me and would never hurt me. James gently wrapped his free arm across my back and pulled me against his chest, moving his head to nuzzle my other cheek comfortingly.
Do you want to tell me what happened, or will you be okay?
Let's tell him, man. I moved to wrap my arms around James. I wasn't sure if I wanted to tell him at all. Of course. This is the same thing I said like in the demo. Like you got to have trust in a marriage. You got to be able to trust the other person to tell these things, you know what I'm saying? I gently pulled away from him to look into his eyes. I had to tell him. It was about him after all. I was in a dungeon. I was there with Diana.
Diana? Did she try to hurt you?
Quite the contrary, friend. No, actually, she was trying to protect me from you. Oh, let me back up. Trying to protect me.
From who?
You! James stared surprised at me, but remained silent as I continued. You came in and enthralled me, but it wasn't like you usually do it. It was forceful and I didn't want it. Oh, that's not funny. But I was under your control. Diana tried to stop you, but you shot her. Then you came for me. For some reason, a weight was lifted from my shoulders. It was a terrible dream, but James deserved to know. As I finished recounting the nightmare, James gently moved his hands up and cupped my face in them.
Thank you for telling me, and I'm sorry that you experienced that kind of nightmare. But I swear to you that I will never hurt you.
Fabulous. I let myself become lost in his amber eyes, believing every single word he said. I could feel the love and care in his voice, and his warm hands assured me that he would protect me from harm. I wrapped my arms once again around James and let my head rest on his shoulder as his arms encircled my form. I loved him. He loved me. We would protect and love each other forever. I was about to be married. It was insane. I couldn't stop staring at myself in the mirror, dressed in the wedding dress of my dreams. Jeez, is this really happening? Girl, look in the mirror. Yes, it's happening. The thought of us together made me smile and close my eyes. Delicious, that was gross. That made no sense, whatever. A voice I didn't know sent shivers up and down my spine. suddenly looked around, hearing the voice echo in the room. Oh, stop talking, please. What was going on? Why was I hearing the voices? Am I going crazy? This couldn't be happening. I held my head trying to stop the sounds in case I was dreaming or imagining them. Yeah, he keeps calling me fat. I remember this. Stop, don't call me fat, please. I screamed at the voices, not knowing what they were saying, but wanting them to go away. What I didn't realize was that my screams let out some sort of spell that seemed to freeze the air around me. How could you tell everything in the room isn't moving? Everything was still and silent. I couldn't feel. Or I could feel, however, that the room around me was frozen in time.
I knew it. That
Oh, yeah.
girl has demon magic.
These guys are perverts. Just watch and see. These guys are absolute perverts. What the?
Then quit talking and let's take her.
Yeah, delicious.
The demon lord will be so pleased.
Who? Before I could turn to search for the voices, I felt hands grab hold of my feet, which naturally means they're under her, which naturally means they're seeing naughty bits. And I looked down and lifted my dress. Two pairs of evil-looking hands had taken hold of my ankles, reaching through a dark red and purple pentagram. I shrieked, trying to pull my legs away, but couldn't stop them as they swiftly pulled me into the ground. Geez, see you later, have fun with it. I was pulled deeper into the darkness. I was no longer in my room. I was being dragged through a dark void, one that I couldn't escape. I finally felt a surface under my feet and I collapsed onto it, my body curling in on itself from the experience I had. I didn't dare tear my eyes away from my lap, not ready to get up just yet. The voice I heard, however, made my heart stop.
You. What are you doing here?
Oh, jeez. What are you grabbing his nip? He's freaking grabbing his nipple over here. Oh, what's going on? Stop. Always happens. I looked up to see 5 figures, strangers, monsters, beings that I didn't recognize. They all looked down at me in surprise, as if I had dropped in at a very bad time. One of the women who was staring at me had rabbit ears. Rabbit ears? They twitched on top of her head as she looked at me and gripped her staff. She seemed harmless, yet she had animal ears. Well, damn, just discriminate even more. One creature that I couldn't discern the sex of seemed more excited to see me than surprised. That's fucked up. What freaked me out about them was that they had wings sticking out from their back and they were floating. The last woman, however, set off alarm bells in my head as I looked at her surprised face, her hair, her eyes. Diana!
What are you doing here?
Before Diana could speak further, most likely to repeat herself, a figure quickly stepped up and bowed to her, kneeling beside me.
My lady, please forgive me. I felt something moving between our worlds and assumed the Demon Lord was to blame, so I intercepted his summoning of this human.
So I wasn't the only one who felt the change in the air.
Wait, this dude has just a massive cut on his chest and no one's doing anything about that? This all felt wrong. I was about to be married. I was about to live my happily ever after with the man I loved. Now I was in a place that I didn't know with Diana and a bunch of other creatures I didn't recognize. My instinct was to stay still. We're not, what the heck? We're not gonna attack or scream or cry. All of those will probably get us crossed off, to be honest. Let's stay still.
Can you tell me what happened?
Oh, so sweet. I didn't want to speak. I felt no courage to. My mind was so wrapped around this chaos that I felt nothing but fear and anxiousness. This couldn't have been happening. I was dreaming.
Is she okay?
Stop. I'm thinking.
I don't think so.
Well, keep gossiping about me. That doesn't help.
This is a waste of our time. Just kill her or something.
And that doesn't promote confidence. Why is everyone such a dick?
Yes, because that's a smart thing to do. Kill someone who is clearly traumatized and has done nothing to deserve death. Brilliant idea. Bravo.
Diana held out her hand, ushering me to take it.
Can you stand?
She's being so sweet. I nodded again and took her hand, standing up at last. I looked around at the other beings in the room. They all kept their gaze to me, unsure of what I would do or say. Diana, however, led the conversation.
First, can you tell me what happened to you?
Absolutely. I took a breath, recounting everything that happened. I was about to go to the church to be married, and then I was attacked by this darkness. A couple of hands grabbed my legs and pulled me into it, and then I fell here.
A shadow summoning.
So you know of it. Diana turned to one of the beings, the lanky male, and glared.
One of yours couldn't have.
On my honor, it wasn't any of mine. We have nothing to gain from kidnapping a human. Nor do we know who this woman is, anyhow.
My lady, if I may, I clearly remember hearing imp demons in the void along with her. It must have been the Demon Lord's henchmen.
Gross.
Those damnable creatures. That explains it.
Diana crossed her arms and looked to me again.
Well, dear, it seems that you were to be either a new harem girl for the Demon Lord to ravish, or bait for the boys to return to their father's side.
Probably that one.
Either way, I doubt you would have lived long had the Demon Lord gotten his hands on you.
Well, it's a good thing they scrubbed it up, I guess. A violent shiver ran up my spine. Was it true? Would I have died? Wait. Back up. You're telling me that she would have died if you would have ravished her? Slow up, man. Like, be a bit more gentle. Damn.
Wait a minute. This girl knows about the Demon Lord's heirs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hilariously enough, she was set to marry one of them, as you can see from her garb.
My garb. It's not hilarious. It's sweet, okay? It's not, and this is not a garb. I mean, probably is, but whatever.
Since you do not belong here, the obvious thing to do is to send you home.
Thank you. I couldn't help but stare wide-eyed at Diana. Was she really going to send me home? Really? I couldn't believe my ears. You will really send me back?
Of course. It should be easy to do once everything is in order. It'll be like you never left the human world.
My mind went blank. It couldn't be. I couldn't be in the demon world. No way. No way in hell. Ironically in hell, but whatever.
We will send you back now, so there's nothing to worry about.
You'd waste time and energy on this human. We must strike now while the Demon Lord is weakened.
Oh man, you are freaking aggressive.
But the human doesn't belong here. She needs to go home.
Fabulous.
Shall I prepare the return spell?
Please do. Post haste.
Do. I grant you permission to use my energy to power the spell.
With a nod, the lanky man held out his hand towards the wall. I looked over in the direction it was aimed at. Diana's shadow. I watched as Diana's shadow simply stood against the wall, mirroring the movements of the real succubus in the room. Before my eyes, the shadow began to morph and expand on the wall on its own. Gross. Is this enjoyable? Her nails embedded themselves into her forearms, and I could barely make out a painful hiss escaping her clenched teeth. Was the spell hurting her that badly?
You will obey my command. Open the gates to the void, and allow passage to the world we seek.
There's more than one?
Transitum per renan pecto genives. Ubi aperiunt. Iano iam. Resedio.
God, sounds epic. Upon Diana's final word, her shadow burst and expanded into an oval-shaped doorway. I stared wide-eyed at the passage before a hand placed itself on my shoulder, forcing me to look over. The one with the spear gently pressed my shoulder forward and looked down at me with almost a stern face.
You must leave now. The faster you leave, the quicker we can close the void.
All right.
Go! Go! Go get married!
Thank you, fairy lady. I quickly nodded and lifted the bottom of my dress, stepping forward to make a run for the passageway. However, before I could bolt towards my freedom, a snarl echoed through the room.
How dare you interfere with my summoning?
Oh, shit. Oh, is she getting crispy? Someone's getting crossed off. At that very moment, Diana began to scream, arcing her spine and throwing her head back. Around her body were red-tinted bolts of lightning, flashing and shocking her form. Damn! And you're naked, too, so you know she's feeling that.
No! Human! Use the passage! Now!
He didn't have to tell me twice. I bolted towards the portal, diving forward as I neared it, but I was forced back by a burst of energy and a flash of red light. I fell to the floor, almost slamming my head onto the stone. Damn, that ain't a good sign. The human will... Oh, not my line.
Leave this world alive!
That is not my line.
You spineless worm!
Close the portal! The Demon Lord might get through!
But the human...
Close it!
Damn. As commanded, the man pulled his hand back, visually forcing his arm back behind his body, and Diana's shadow quickly began to morph back into a simple shadow. The electricity around Diana faded away, and she began to tip forward. The man with the spear dropped his weapon and caught Diana in his arms, cradling her to his body as she panted and gasped for air.
I don't sense the Demon Lord anywhere.
You'd probably see him.
The worm has to scurry through the shadows to try and fight back. He'll be dead soon enough.
Damn. All right, then. That cloth is barely covering vital things, bro. I'm just saying. You might want to change your attire. This is not war attire here. I'm just saying.
There are no physical wounds, but she's been weakened. I must give her my energy so she can recover.
All right. So, the man swiftly moved and hooked an arm underneath Diana's knees, lifting her up bridal style as she clung to his jacket, shivering. The spear that had fallen to the floor faded into black and purple mist as he quickly left the room with her in his arms. My mind, however, began to panic. I couldn't go home? Why was I being forced to stay? Damn the Demon Lord. This wasn't right.
There's an imp in the castle. That is the only way the Demon Lord could have been able to interfere.
Jeez, man, we gotta find that dude and just, like, cross him off.
You! Guards by the door! Hunt it down! We'll get you home, okay? Diana just needs a little rest, okay?
Sure thing. We know what that means. The woman with rabbit ears looked down at me and lowered her hand to me, inviting me to take it. She had a kind but concerned expression on her face, so I trusted her.
Here, I'll bring you to the open ambassador's room. You are free to rest there for now.
What about Diana? The floating person giggled softly as the woman with rabbit ears cleared her throat.
She'll be fine. She's being taken care of right now.
Oh. Well, then, okay? Well to the then, Jesus.
Why not just say she's getting fucked?
Oh, well then, there are many other words for that, friend.
And the brute strikes again with the lack of tasteful filtering between his brain and his mouth. You still have yet to prove me wrong about my expectations of you.
Honestly, I feel like that particular way of saying it and being taken care of is a much more, I don't know, dare I say, sexy way to say it. The other way is a bit more aggressive. I don't know. I mean, people say it all the time, but whatever. I feel that what she said was a bit more tasteful.
Keep testing me, assassin. I'm not afraid to rip your spine out of your body and use it as a back scratcher.
That is so unsanitary, I can't even begin to frickin' explain to you. Jeez.
You can very well try, brute.
Well then.
Ugh! Would you both knock it off?
Come, everything will be taken care of.
Before I could protest, the woman led me out of the room and into the hall. The woman led me to a room that practically screamed medieval fantasy. Everything was clean, but it still had the old age feel, as if no one had ever stepped foot in the room until that moment.
Rest here for now. When Diana is well again, we can discuss what to do.
Thank you. I nodded to the woman before she gently curtsied and left, closing the door behind her. I took a moment to observe my surroundings, interested in understanding the aesthetic. This was fantasy turned into reality. It was like I had gone back in time. I stumbled towards the bed, needing to sit down and let everything settle in without passing out. As my rear hit the mattress, however, I let out a small, pleasured sigh. Holy crap, this is a comfy mattress. I felt myself fall back and my entire body simply melted into the softness beneath my body. It was like I was sleeping on a cloud. Was that possible? Demon magic may have had something to do with it, but I was certain that I was drifting into an almost blissful sleep just by laying on the blankets and mattress. Not caring that I was still in my dress, I closed my eyes and drifted to sleep. I needed to rest since Diana wouldn't be available for a while anyway. Par the apparent reasons. I eventually did rise from my sleep, somehow, fully refreshed and calm. How could that have even been?
Did you have a good rest?
Did you? I turned my head to see Diana at the door, crossed arms and leaning against the door's archway. She had a look of concern and pure curiosity on her face as she awaited my answer. That's rude. She's being so nice. Are you okay? Diana stared at me, slightly shocked. Did she not expect me to ask?
Huh. Well, yes, I'm fine now that I've had proper rest.
Proper rest.
So we need to find another way to get you back to the human world. It won't be easy, but I believe it can be done by tonight at the latest.
Tonight, really? Diana nodded and crossed her arms again, leaning on one hip.
It will take time to get our shadow agents to gather the necessary supplies, but they are not hard to obtain, being that we're in a position of power. You must be lucky.
I nodded, understanding the situation. I was going to hopefully be able to go home tonight, which was better than not going home at all. So what should I do until then?
My suggestion? Stay in this room. I can mark this room as off-limits so that no demon may enter that would confuse you for an intruder and kill you.
Alright. I gulped. I did not want to die. As Diana made the magical map disappear, she shrugged.
However, I cannot stop you from whatever you wish to do. Just don't leave the castle.
I nodded as she turned to leave. As she stepped out, Diana looked back to me with a reassuring look.
We'll get you back to the human world. I promise you that.
Alright. Finally, she left me alone in the room. I let out a small sigh and looked up at the ceiling. I had to wait until tonight to actually do anything. What was I going to do? Part of me agreed with Diana's suggestion, wanting to stay in the room and be safe in case the guards didn't know who I was and would kill me on sight. My curiosity, however, wouldn't leave me alone and wanted me to explore the castle. I was handed an opportunity to explore a castle in the demon world, and part of me did not want it to go to waste. I was torn on what to do. Alright, so guys, really quick, I'm going to go ahead and link the other video again because I did explore every single option of where to go. I was very thorough with the demo intros back when we were doing the demo and stuff like that, so I will go ahead and leave it up to you to go check those out, but I'm going to go ahead and stay in the room and just stay in the room and all that stuff just to get through the scene a bit quicker because I didn't realize that all of this is literally the exact same as the demo. I thought it was going to be slightly different, and while it might be subtly different, I'm not noticing a difference at all. So I'm just going to try to pursue through and get to the new part, which is where some events occur in case you're a new person watching and you haven't seen the other one. Staying in my room was the best option for me, both so that I wouldn't get lost and that I'd be okay in case the guards were on duty. I let out a small sigh before looking around the room. Was there anything I wanted to look at closer?
Excuse me.
Who were you? Get out of my room. Before I could find anything, I looked to the door towards the voice. Peeking in was the rabbit woman, cautiously remaining behind the door while looking at me.
Are you feeling okay?
Pretty good. Yeah, I am, thank you. Please come in. I trusted this woman despite barely knowing her. She assisted me in coming to this room and she was one of Diana's comrades, so I felt that I could put my trust in her.
May I ask you something?
Sure. I looked to the woman, slightly confused. Sure, go ahead, what is it?
Well, how are things like in the human world? Is there equality amongst your races?
Aw.
I've only heard stories, but since you're a human yourself, you would know.
I mean, yeah, more or less, yeah. My mind ran back to the social life of the human world. At least in America, we claimed to be equal, but we had major prejudice amongst our races, whether we liked it or not. I found myself to be on neutral ground, not wishing to be extreme on either opinion, but knowing the difference between what was morally right and wrong. I looked to the woman and shook my head, making her eyes widen slightly. We're not exactly equal. I mean, we try, but we're pretty divided. However, it's only one of many problems we face. The woman nodded before walking over and sitting down on the bed beside me.
I see. Are there major wars fought because of it?
There was. In a way, we have marches and movements, but we at least try not to escalate it to war where I live. It's better to resolve things without violence.
That's smart. I hope that equality can be found in your world. We have sort of a caste system here. What kind of demon you are determines what life you live. Demons of Lilith like Diana are usually royals and nobles, while animal demons like me are much lower in the...
Oh man, poor girl. Shit. Don't those bunny ears get you any kind of praise? I would hope so. They're pretty cool. I could hear her anger and shame just from her voice alone. Were things really that bad here? That's horrible. I'm so sorry.
It's alright. That's why I joined the rebellion. We intend to make changes, make it better. I want to be part of that and help fix things.
That's good. There was a confidence in her words that didn't match the look in her eyes. She knew something was off in what she said, but she expressed it anyway as her reply to me. I didn't know whether or not to be proud or keep silent. I wouldn't be here long, so I decided to keep my mouth shut. The woman shook her head out. Wait, what? Shook her head out, as if she was scattering the thoughts from her mind, and looked at me.
So, you are getting married. You must be excited to get back with your family and soon-to-be partner.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I'm excited to go back. For a brief moment, I had nearly forgotten that I was getting married. Man, that's a shame. It must not be that important to you. My mind began to wander to the one who was waiting for me, making my heart ache. As I looked down at my lap, the rabbit woman looked down as well.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you upset. But you will be home soon. Well, I shall leave you be. I will bring food whenever it is ready, so that you don't starve.
Thank you, that's so kind. Thank you, I appreciate it. With that, the woman left, leaving me alone in my room to wait. Huh. It was some sort of stew with mysterious chunks swimming in its broth. It smelled surprisingly good, but who knew how it tasted? Let's just refuse it. No. No way. No how. Damn, you don't gotta be rude. You can just be like, I'm not hungry right now. I don't gotta be a dick. The door opened to reveal Diana with a plate holding things I recognized, bread and cheese. I let out a heavy sigh of relief before Diana laughed.
I suggest not trying that. As good as it smells, the taste would not sit well with you. It's not much, but it's human food. Eat up.
I will. I began to chow down, feeling the hunger in my stomach dissipate with each bite and swallow. The food I was eating, surprisingly, was delicious. As I began to crave something to drink, Diana chuckled and formed a small goblet in her hand, filled with clear liquid that I assumed to be water. I took it down and drank it, feeling my thirst quench before I let out a sigh. Ah, I feel so much better.
I can tell. Take a moment to finish eating. Then we'll head for the ritual.
I looked up at Diana, suddenly excited. Everything was prepared for? Was it possible to go home now? As if she read my mind, she smiled and nodded.
We finished the main preparations. We just need to head over and we'll start.
Diana led me down the corridors to the war room, where I had originally arrived, to reveal the table covered in plants and artifacts of different kinds. None of it made sense to me, but I had only to assume it was what was needed for the spell to work. Diana walked to the table and took note of what she saw, nodding.
This should work.
You're in doubt?
Have to be after the last time we tried sending her home. Do we have a human anchor?
No, you're on your own this time. But we'll make sure you survive casting it.
This spell should work, however, because we'll be using energy material. It will only require a slice of your energy on top of these items, which your guard can refill immediately after this.
Refill.
Just make sure you don't die casting it.
Diana smiled at her guard before turning to me.
So, are you ready to return home?
Yep. She didn't have to ask. I'm ready. Diana nodded once more before turning back to the table. She lifted her arms over the surface and lowered her head, muttering under her breath. Okay. As she spoke, the table began to glow as she did. A dark purple aura began to surround her form as she lifted and arched her head back, staring at the ceiling. The other demon stepped back as Diana moved her arms up and pointed to the dancing lights. Her finger pointed into the air, leading to the lights to follow where it directed obediently. She drew a large circle in the air, and the lights followed like a perfect trail, spreading out and forming a large void in the air. As they finally stopped moving, they burst into a bright light, causing the demons and I to cover our eyes from it. Whoa! It engulfed the room, but died down just as fast, revealing a small tear in the air. Diana quickly leaned forward and dug her hand into it before pulling the tear apart, revealing my bedroom. Oh, jeez. Diana continued to pull the tear open, giving enough space for me to jump through.
Hurry and go through! This is your chance!
Go, lady! I mean us. I wasn't going to let it go to waste. I gripped the bottom of my dress and rushed forward, using momentum to jump into the air and forward towards the void. I could almost reach it. I could feel the air conditioning of my room right at my fingertips. I was...
She will never leave this world alive!
Damn! So sorry, bro. The Demon Lord's voice rang through the air just as I saw my fingertips pass through the tear. What stopped the rest of my body was a red light and force, forcing me and Diana back from the opening. Oh! I felt my body fly backwards and slam into the wall before I landed on the stone ground. I heard Diana as well land beside me with a painful thud. I looked up and felt my heart break as the tear became wrapped in red lightning, zipping itself closed and vanished into thin air. No, this can't be.
Damn it!
That should have worked! How could it have failed?
We must have missed something. Was there anything we had forgotten?
No. I verified everything myself.
Then why was the Demon Lord able to overpower a gate spell?
Jeez.
I highly doubt you know either, brute.
Well, he's just trying to help.
Stop fighting! We need to make a plan, and all of you are just being stupid! Stupid,
Oh god, the voice.
Stupid!
It's like making my skin crawl sometimes.
Are you alright, Isaiah?
I'm fine.
I was too lost in my mind to fully understand what was going on around me. I was so close. I felt the other side. I had almost made it home. Why couldn't I go home? Diana's grunt of pain next to me made me shoot my head towards her, and I watched her slowly push herself off the ground and glare at the table.
The Demon Lord must have done something more than simply bring her here.
What could he have done?
The Demon Lord is incapable of doing anything of the sort. His lackey imps must have done something to her.
A spell?
A curse.
I looked to the rabbit woman, seeing her stare wide-eyed at me. The other demons stared at me as well, and suddenly I felt like I was on display. Was something wrong with me?
She will not leave the demon world alive. He must have placed some sort of curse on her to prevent her from leaving this plane. In order to leave, she'd have to die.
Oh shit, that just won't do! What? My mind went blank. Did the Demon Lord really curse me? Was I forced to stay in this world until I died? I could never go back?
Are you suggesting a barrier curse?
That would explain the red energy that sealed the tear.
But dark magic like that requires...
The Demon Lord is that...
Blood of 1,000 demons. He must have sacrificed part of his army to cast a curse on her that would prevent her from leaving.
Damn, that's a lot of dudes! You just don't give a shit?
The Demon Lord is that desperate for her.
The only way to break that kind of curse is to kill the caster, the Demon Lord himself.
Oh shit. Wait, how are you so sure he's the one that casted it?
She's trapped here until this war is over.
Fantabulous. My body began to shiver violently. The Demon Lord killed 1,000 demons just to trap me here? Why? Why? I slammed my fist into the ground and began to scream. I want to go home. Why? I could feel the sympathy and anger in the room, but I didn't care. I was beyond livid. I was far past broken. I was seeing red. Damn. Ah! The fuck? As my voice ripped through the air, a bright light erupted through the room once again. Everyone covered their eyes, but Diana quickly scrambled to get on her knees and covered me with her body. She held me tightly as the light invaded the space and slowly began to fade. As the light finally died, everyone moved their hands to see what had happened. In the air was a white tear that was slowly opening, facing down towards the table. Something was coming. I could feel it in the air. The guard summoned his spear and pointed it at the tear, glaring at it and gritting his teeth.
Something's coming!
Oh jeez. In reply, Diana summoned what looked like a saber and placed it in front of us.
Ready yourselves! It could be the Demon Lord!
The other demons in the room readied themselves and stared at the tear, either holding a weapon or preparing a spell. I felt the air change, becoming heavier as the tear began to grow. The energy around it began to pulsate, making everyone in the room that much more tense. I stared at the tear as well, frightened as to what was coming. Was it the Demon Lord, his minions? My mind began to cycle through fearful ideas of what was about to appear. So graceful. My heart almost stopped. Fallen from the tear and landed on the table were the 5 incubi brothers. They were piled on top of one another, having come through one at a time. However, as the last brother landed, the boys fell to one side, toppling off the table and landing on the floor. The rebels around me stared at the fallen pile of incubi, confused and surprised. As the tear in the air closed, the ogre man was the first to lower his sword.
What the hell?
Who are they?
Careful, they could be the Demon Lord's men.
Technically. No. The rebels looked at me as I stood up, Diana following and still protecting me, as I stared at the boys on the ground. They all looked dazed and a bit shell-shocked from having fallen twice in rapid succession. I almost couldn't believe it. I know them. What the? Everyone's so good at standing up. What? I stared at the one I was meant to marry, seeing him slowly shake his head and rise from the ground. They came to rescue me. He came to rescue me. My heart became overjoyed and full of warmth and happiness. I was going to go home. The question was, how? As the sight of the boys kept the demon's attention, a second tear opened above them, causing everyone to look up. 4 women dropped down from the tear and somehow managed to fall into the arms of the incubi behind James.
Wow!
Wait, why did you bring your wife here? That's not a good idea.
I gotcha.
Oh, jeez. Who are you now? Twillia? Whatever.
Whoa, are you okay?
Why are they bringing their girls? This is such a bad idea. Like, what the frick? Oh my god. Why are you bringing these girls? They don't need to be here. You're wasting your time. Oh my god.
I gotcha. It's
okay, we get it. You're catching females. Oh my, you look fancy. Wait, is that a demon? You have stuff.
Love, I've got you.
I stared wide-eyed. Their wives came too. Yeah, right? What the fuck? I watched as the boys and the girls finally planted themselves on the ground before looking around. As James spotted me, however, he quickly rushed over.
Love!
Oh, James! To my surprise, Dinah quickly moved out of the way, allowing him to approach and wrap his arms around me. The feeling of his body against mine sent a shiver up my spine. He was really here. I instantly wrapped my arms around his body, burying my face in his shoulder, and taking in his scent. Delicious. His head gently nuzzled into my shoulder, and James curled over to bring my body close to him.
God, you're safe.
Oh man, you came for me. I could barely believe it, but I did. The scent of his cologne and the texture of his clothing let me know that I wasn't dreaming. He came to find me. Now the question was, how would we both leave? Alright guys, I'm going to end it right there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know that this kind of just began to get into the new stuff, so I do apologize for that, but I didn't want to make these super long. In the future, because I did realize that these are pretty much the exact same, I will be skipping the first portion of it and linking you guys to the demo stuff that I did in the previous, I guess the previous sessions I had on the demo. So you'll have to watch those if you want to see the beginning, if you're new to the series. Okay, so if you're new and you don't know what's going on, just go back to those other videos there. Again, you have the version, I guess, where I did all the other choices instead of leave the room as well from the demo that I didn't do here. So go ahead and check those out if you want to know more and you want to see the other beginnings, because I will be skipping all of them from here on out. I thought it was going to be a little different, so that's why I played through it. But because I see that it's not, I'm going to skip the other ones and just start here, which is where all the other ones eventually end up here, and we proceed from there. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Definitely make sure you rate the video what you think it deserved. If you did enjoy, please consider sharing the video as well. That kind of stuff really helps me out a lot, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or any social media really, or even word of mouth with your friends. That's really awesome too. Of course, it directly helps me as well as the entire community and is greatly appreciated. So with that being said, if you want to become a Sage in Training, make sure you subscribe today. And as always, this has been Mr. Basie, your favorite Sage, and I'll see you in the next video.